What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph? You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, okay, making their debut on the channel tonight, we have Immortal. Yes, indeed. How about that? Immortal making their debut on the channel. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all of the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-bobbity-bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Brent Winship. And Brent wanted to see me react to this song by Immortal called The Sun No Longer Rises. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Humanoid Phenomena, okay? And the video has 2,300 views. Well, there you go. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. Immortal 01. The Sun No Longer Rises live. So this is the first song of the set. Okay, let's see how they start off their show. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Going back to 2007, this one. Wouldn't it have been great? I see why the crowd responded. They saw the silhouette. You know, they see the shadow of the silhouette moving to the drum set. Now, we don't know who that is. What if that had been a drum tech? What if that had been the drum tech just coming out to, you know, double check and, you know, make sure the cymbals are tight enough and make sure everything's ready, make sure there are enough drumsticks in the stick bag, you know. What if that had been the drum tech and the crowd pops for him? That would have been great. Oh, good Lord. It's looking like London over there.
Welcome to the seventh gate of Blashek. We are immortal, and the sun no longer
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I actually, believe it or not, I kind of like it. It's a little sloppy. If I'm being honest, the playing is a little sloppy, especially in the beginning. I heard a number of flubs. I heard a number of smudges where the guitar and the bass were just not lining up. It was a little sloppy in the intro, but ever since then, since we got into the straight time, it's been pretty clean. It's been a lot cleaner. On top of that, I love the fact that they're playing with feel as much as they are. Switching between, right now, they're switching between straight time and half time. In the intro, we had that double time feel going, but it wasn't just a double time feel. The tempo itself was actually a little bit faster. So when they came into the main body of the song, they slowed down the tempo a little bit, helped them clean things up a little bit, and went into a straight time feel as opposed to a double time feel. Smart move. It gave them the opportunity to clean things up. They got great stage presence. I love the face paint. I think it's a great look. I know it's that Norwegian death metal that a lot of bands like Behemoth, they do the same thing. I get it. You can go all the way back to King Diamond for that look, or you can go back even further. Go back to Kiss. It's obviously a little more death oriented. I like it. I think it's cool. I know a lot of people make fun of it, and I can see the opportunity to make fun of it, but listen, it's eye-catching. It absolutely is. It grabs your attention. You can't help but notice it. You know what I mean? You can't. And more than that, and I know a lot of people put negative context on this work, and I honestly do not understand why. Because they're doing it right. It's their gimmick. It's their shtick. It's what helps them stand apart from the thousands of other bands out there. You know what I mean? And I love when people go, you're calling them a gimmick band. I hate to tell you this, folks. Every successful band in history has had some kind of gimmick, okay? Kiss, gimmick band. Gwar, gimmick band. I know this might upset some people. Iron Maiden, gimmick band. Judas Priest, gimmick band. Motorhead, gimmick band. I mean, there's so many bands in history. I'm going to throw, okay, and I know a lot of people go, well, what about the non-metal bands? Okay, I'm going to use this, and I'm going to upset some people when I say this. Hanson, gimmick band. Yeah, The Warning, gimmick band. They're successful. And one of the reasons they are successful is they have a shtick. They have a gimmick. And it works for them. It helps them stand apart from all the other thousands of bands who get overlooked. Why? Because they don't stand out. There's nothing special about them. They literally look exactly and sound exactly like each other. So why does this band, why does The Warning, why does Judas Priest, why does Gwar, why does Kiss, why does King Diamond, why do these other bands have success as opposed to the hundreds and thousands of bands that sound exactly like them? They got a gimmick. They got a shtick that helps them stand apart. I'm sorry, but I don't have a problem with that. I'm a huge Kiss fan. I'm a huge King Diamond fan. I like Gwar. I like Judas Priest. I like Iron Maiden. And I will be the first to admit, I love these bands. And one of the reasons why I love the bands is they've got a gimmick. They have a shtick, and it makes them stand apart. And I know people are going to, listen, you can try to put a negative spin on that word all you want, but I think I've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt just in this little spiel that there's nothing wrong with being a gimmick band. Now, hold on one second. There is a way that could be negative, and that's if all they have is the gimmick. If all they've got is the gimmick and they can't write songs to save their lives, they can't play their instruments to save their lives, they can't put on a good live show to save their lives. If all they have is that gimmick, then yeah, that's a bad thing. Sure, that's a negative thing. But can these guys play their instruments? Yep. Can they write songs? Clearly. Can they put on a live show? Absolutely. They don't need the gimmick, but the gimmick absolutely helps. It absolutely helps them stand apart and identify themselves. I have zero issue with that. Zero problem with that. And if I don't have a problem with it, I don't see why anybody else would either. Anyway, let's get back into this. I love that Tom Araya bass. I think that's the Tom Araya signature model from ESP. Yeah, he's playing an LTD. He's pulling to Gene Simmons right now. Gene would do that all the time during his bass solos. He would just stop in the middle of his solo and stand there with his hands on his hips, or he would cross his arms and then he would put his hands on his hips. He's pulling the total Gene right now. I love it. I love everything about that. He's like, what? Are you not entertained? Are you not impressed? Oh, God, he's doing the tongue, too. I love it. Paying homage. Everybody's going to be going, oh, he's ripping off Gene Simmons. No, he's not. He's taking certain aspects from Gene's live show, but he's putting his own little spin on it. And even if he was just completely ripping Gene Simmons off, which, listen, I'm a huge Kiss fan. I'm not saying that he is. I'm not saying he's ripping off Gene. I think he's paying homage to Gene. Sure, absolutely. Why not? Why wouldn't you want to pay homage to your heroes? Why not? Pay homage to those who came before you, who paved the way for you. Absolutely. I don't have a problem. I still have no problem with this. I do not. So let's keep going.
Oh, the sun no longer rises over the cold and forgotten days. Sun no longer rises where I walk and where I come.
The knee lifts. Switching gears. Like we were at the beginning. Looked fine to me. I got no issue with anything I saw. I really didn't have a whole lot of issue with anything I heard either. I mean, there was one aspect I'm not the biggest fan of, but we'll talk about that. Well, I'm going to save it all for the review. Let me get my thoughts together. I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Immortal with a live performance of The Sun No Longer Rises. This was a request from Brent Winship. Okay, I am sure that there were people, members of the fan base, who saw this and saw I was reacting to this and went, oh, DH is going to hate this. He's going to hate this. I hate to break it to you, folks. I didn't hate it. I actually kind of enjoyed this. I kind of liked it. I really did. Let's get to the score and we'll talk all about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that a 7.8. Yep, 7.8. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay, first things first, a 7.8. What does that mean? Well, a 7.8 would translate to a really good skill rating because overall, I think this was a really good presentation. It would also give 4 to 5 stars and a B plus letter grade. Yeah, that's B as in boy. B plus letter grade. So there you go, a 7.8, really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B plus letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. Okay, let's start with the songwriting. Now, if I'm being honest, the songwriting, okay, not the greatest songwriting I've ever heard. It's not. For the most part, it was pretty simple. The chordal progression, very simple, very easy to follow. A lot of root and 7 work. There was some 4s and 3s thrown in there. I'm trying to remember if I heard a 5th. I don't think I did. I think everything was really kind of hanging around the 4s and the 3s and the 7s. I don't even know if I heard any 6s. I don't know. Yeah, did I? I don't think so. I think it was all 7s, roots, 4s, and 3s. And listen, is there anything wrong with that? No, it's fine. 4 chords. Hey, you can write. I've heard people write songs with 2 chords. You know, so I mean, it's very doable. I'm just not gonna sit here and blow things out of proportion and go, oh my God, that's some of the most amazing songwriting I've ever heard in my life. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now, I will give credit where credit's due. I like the change in tempo for the intro. Slowing, when they came out of the intro with that double time feel, slowing things down just ever so slightly and going into the straight time feel. And from there, it was straight time and halftime, straight time and halftime, straight time and halftime for the most part. Until they went into the outro, which oddly enough was exactly like the intro. You know, beginning with the end in mind. I always appreciate when bands do that. And then, you know, like I said, speeding up the tempo and going into that double time feel. Okay, fine. I got no issue with that whatsoever. I think that was well done. I will say, during the intro, the playing, let's be honest here, the playing was a little sloppy. Okay, there was a number of times where the guitar playing was a little smudged, a little. We heard some gaps in there, for sure. Things didn't always line up with what was happening with the bass and the drums, and so forth and so on. There was some sloppy playing. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. Let's be 100% honest. Okay. Now the funny thing is, when we got to the outro, that sloppiness was gone. There was none. So my guess is, you know, it's the first song of the set. They're coming out, and they're coming out all guns blazing, okay? I understand that, and sometimes in the heat of the moment, we're super excited, and maybe our fingers are working a little faster than they should be, and it gets a little sloppy, okay? It happens, guys. It happens. It happens to all of us. But like I said, at the end, it was clean. It was super clean. I didn't hear any gaps. I didn't hear any slop. So, you know, it wasn't 100% accurate. Okay, fine. I get it. You know, it's cool, but it's still a factor. Okay. The vocals, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you know, you've heard me say this 100 times at least. I am not a big fan of pure grit and growl vocals. And let's be honest, that's what we had here. Okay. Pure grit and growl. No attention to pitch. No attention to notation whatsoever. Just pure delivery, pure grit and growl. I will say, while I may not personally be a big fan of that, if you're looking at his vocal work objectively, he did it fine. He did it really well. He did his grit and growl very strong, very well done when it comes to things like diction. Like, you could understand what he was saying. You could. You had to look a little bit, but it was there. No, his grit and growl was done well. I'm just not personally the biggest fan of it. And then when it came to the live show, it was all, if I'm not mistaken, they checked off all the boxes. Hold on, let me see. Stage presence. Oh yeah, come on, please. Stage presence was absolutely there. They looked like performers. They acted like performers. Stage energy. Yeah, they were moving around the stage quite a bit, weren't they? They absolutely were creating that energy. So yes, it was there. Interaction. Did they ever really interact with each other? A couple of times, kind of casually, but it was interaction nonetheless. So I'll count it. Could have been better. Could have been bigger. Could have been more frequent, but it was done a couple times. So I'll give it the check. It's a weak check, but it's still a check. Crowd interaction. Yep, number of times. Big time crowd interaction. So yeah, that one absolutely gets the check. Showmanship. Again, yeah, check. Could not help but notice the nods to Gene Simmons. A lot of parallels in that guitar player with Gene Simmons, wasn't there? Anywhere from, the facial expressions, the tilting of the head, the stopping mid-song and hands on the hips, looking up to the crowd, gesturing to the crowd. Are you not entertained? Gene does that all the time in his bass solos. And then also the bassist with the knee raises, bringing up the knee with the neck of the bass and then coming down with both. Gene would do that all the time. The face makeup, part of the showmanship, part of the production as well. Not at all like Kiss, other than the black and white colors. The designs are completely different, definitely leaning more toward the Norwegian death metal style, but it still works. It still looked good. It was eye-catching. And again, coming back to that word, gimmick, everybody puts such a negative context on them. Let me ask you this question. Let's say you're me and you're watching this band for the first time and they were just out in t-shirts and jeans. Would that be eye-catching? Would that make them stand apart from a lot of other bands out there that sound exactly like them? No, it would not. Now, add the outfits, add the spikes, add the studs, add the gauntlets, add the face paint. Now all of a sudden they're standing apart from the pack, aren't they? You better believe they are. And guess what? Record companies are going to notice that. They have 1,000 submissions and all the bands look the exact same. And then there's this one band that comes across their desk looking the way they do. Guess what? The record label's going to notice that, just like I do. And they're going to say, you know what? These guys got a good look. Let's see what they sound like. And they're going to be given a chance. The rest of those other bands, don't have time for them. Because they all look the same. They all look generic. So, I love when people go, oh, they're a gimmick band. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. They are a gimmick band. They got a gimmick. So does Kiss. So does Gwar. So does Merciful Fate. So does King Diamond. So does Iron Maiden. So does Judas Priest. So does The Warning. All these bands have gimmicks. And what else are they? Successful. I wonder if there's something to be said about that. You better believe there is.
Now, who can argue with that? Robert!
No, their showmanship looked good. Their production looked good. I got no issue with anything I saw. From a visual standpoint, they did just fine. So this is how I'm coming up with that 7.8. I feel good about that score, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have a 7.8, which is a really good skill rating, 4 out of 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care. Whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope that was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.